Travis Reier and Charlie Potter, the BamaOnline.com staff, on a cold, dreary, somewhat snowy Friday afternoon in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Charlie, hence we're inside Coleman Coliseum where they're getting set up for a gymnastics meet tonight. A pretty big one as Alabama welcomes 10th ranked Arkansas to Coleman Coliseum. So got that to look forward to later tonight, but obviously a lot of things going on this weekend, beginning with the championship parade tomorrow morning. Bundle up.
Yeah.
If you've never been to like a Green Bay Packers Super Bowl celebration,
I don't think this is the same as that.
yeah, it's not going to be above freezing if the wind's blowing, but no, you're right. I mean, Green Bay's a whole different level, but going to be a little bit of an Arctic chill, but should still be a pretty good crowd, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big weekend. I think there's a lot of people excited about this parade. Well, it's been 3 years. It's been a long wait, I guess, since the last one, but it should be a good crowd. It might be the shortest parade in the history of parades, going from Denny Chimes to Bryant-Denny. But I think it'll be a good turnout and a big-time event. And not only that, it's a prelude into a big basketball game with the number one player in the country coming into Coleman Coliseum.
Definitely. You think they might have like a Pope mobile for Saban to ride in to stay out of the elements, maybe keep him, nice and warm and cozy in there, but really what it is, it's a great way to pay tribute to a very good team, obviously, a historic team in a lot of ways, but it's also a recruiting opportunity. And it's a huge recruiting weekend for Alabama coming up, and from that standpoint, they'll be looking to impress a lot of five-star kids. I think 6, 7, 8 five-star prospects on campus this weekend, so big from that standpoint too. But you mentioned basketball and Ben Simmons coming into this building, and I sort of talked about it in my Friday column this morning, looking back on great LSU talents that have come in here, and there have been some. Brandon Bass was a very good player, but you got to go back to guys like Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Jackson. He certainly ranks as good as this building will have seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about what will probably be the first overall pick in the NBA draft. And I think it's going to be a sellout here. And usually during the regular season, you see when Kentucky comes to town and Auburn, those are the sellouts. But LSU is going to be a sellout tomorrow. And I think that speaks volumes to not only having a guy like Simmons come in here, but what Avery Johnson's done. I know they haven't been able to win as many games in conference play as they would like to, but you can see the guys are fighting hard. They lost a tough road game at Auburn. But there was some fight in those guys. In that Auburn arena, whenever a guy like Simeon Bowers, whenever he's on, it's tough to win. And I think they're going to try to look to bounce back. And doing that against the LSU team that's rolling would be a big statement.
Yeah, the problem for Alabama the other night, it wasn't just cream candy.
Yeah.
As you said, they got it from Bowers. And that kind of speaks to Alabama's need to get it from some other guys other than Rhett Obasahan, who had a career-high 27 points in the game. The supporting cast just wasn't enough down there. You're right, the fight, the effort was great. But again, perimeter shooting for this team, it is what it is. They're going to have to knock down open shots. I think they were 8 for 30 from 3. Outside of Obasahan and maybe Hale, Norris, Arthur Edwards, Justin Coleman, those guys have got to knock down some shots.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be tough, too, coming from a guy like Riley Norris, who's played really well in SEC play because, outside of maybe Shannon, and that's going to be difficult for him to do, Riley's probably going to be matched up with Ben Simmons a lot of the time. And and vice versa on the defensive end, so that's going to be interesting to watch to see if he can get going that way.
Yeah, it is, and it's not just Simmons. That's another issue. It's Hornsby, you got Quarterman, so it's 4 guys really. They're averaging double digits for them. So even if you get Simmons somewhat contained, a guy like Hornsby can really light you up from downtown. They know they have a guy in Hornsby that can knock down shots from three-point land. I think he's 42% for the season. So a multitude of challenges for this team, but it looks like the schedule does start to afford them some opportunities, better opportunities to get some wins.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a brutal stretch to start SEC play. And not only that, they're getting a couple at home, too. I feel like they've been on the road forever, so it's definitely a much-needed break.
Yeah, I think Tennessee coming up, Coleman, they get Missouri coming up pretty soon, a team that they should be able to handle. It's got to start happening, though. Again, this team, when we're talking about NCAA tournaments and things like that, we're still probably a year away or so from realistically. But they gave you that glimmer of hope early in the season with the big wins over the Wichita States, the Notre Dames, and even a week ago against a ranked South Carolina team. So at some point, if they're going to do the unthinkable this year, the wins have got to start coming because they're getting into a pretty big hole here in SEC play.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was going to come down to. You know, you saw an impressive non-conference performance within SEC play, and especially in the last couple of years. I know it's been the case, you know, for all time really, but it's just really unpredictable. You know, Kentucky's down. You know, South Carolina looked like a dominant team early, and now they've kind of been on a string of losses. So it's anybody's game in the SEC.
Yeah, it's up in the air. Texas A&M has looked pretty good, but Kentucky, it's hard to tell night to night what you're going to get from them right now. Played well a night or two ago, so that was good for them. But Florida is not what Florida has been in the past. So there's opportunities out there for this team. They can still make a run, I think. Stay warm this weekend, Charlie.
I'll try to.
It's going to be like the Macy's Day Parade, New York City style, in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. You keep it right here on BamaOnline.com for all your coverage of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For Charlie Potter, I'm Travis Reier. We'll talk to you again real soon.